thinking through what makes life meaningful, what makes a good day, and how is a person's life and history and experiences woven into their current life, and how does that go forward to tell and create new stories. So I really want to introduce and thank sincerely the people who came today to visit with us and to share some of their thoughts. And so first I'd like to introduce the elders who live in the Porter Hills homes, and I'd like to start with at the far end over there. Well, first there's Francisco at the very end, who is a Shabazz at the woohoo. And, you know, not to brag or anything, but Francisco and Beth Roberts, along with Cheryl Van Bemden, went to the Pioneer Network meeting this year, and just to say they wowed them in telling about their stories about their homes. So, Francisco, you are a rock star. I want to also introduce Mrs. Oda Champagne. Yes, right there. And Mrs. Woo! And Mrs. Champagne is the youngest of 8 children from Pella, Iowa, and she said she had a good marriage. She's an outdoor girl, and she spends much time every day out in the garden over at her home, deadheading those plants. And thank you. Taking care of that garden. Just to tell you a little bit else about Oda, she went to college, Central College in Pella, Iowa, and became a teacher. And we're going to talk a little bit more about it, but she said becoming a teacher was her ticket to the world, an adventure. So thank you so much. Oda, welcome. Woo! I want to welcome Marty DeLong, who's the daughter of Liz Fairley, who's sitting right next to her. And just to say, in the spirit of pure transparency, Marty walked in and said, and I said, well, you want to sit up there and talk too? And she's like, sure, I can do that. So she's doing this totally unprepared, except, yeah, woo! But she's prepared because she knows what it means to be a family member involved every day in a greenhouse home. So thank you, Marty. Yes, I want to welcome Liz Fairley, Mrs. Liz Fairley, and she was born not very far from here in Albion, Michigan, and in fact, she went to Albion College. She's also a teacher. She taught 11th and 12th grades, both in Albion, Michigan, but also in Detroit, Michigan, and she was a teacher of language arts and language literature. Is that correct? Yep. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and her experience as being a longtime public school teacher in Detroit and what she brings in wisdom and knowledge. Thank you so much, Liz. Woo! I want to introduce Mrs. Betty Heckman. Betty, welcome. She was married for 25 years, and she was born in Grand Rapids, and she said she will die in Grand Rapids. She's got the plot. So it's good to plan ahead. What the heck? She has 1 son and 1 daughter. She has 4 grandchildren, and she has 10 great-grandchildren. And of those grandchildren, she said, we are the most international family. And with great-grandchildren coming from this country, but also coming from
Ethiopia. Russia.
And it's quite an expanded family. And so I love when she said, we are the most international family. How lovely. Welcome, Betty. Woo! I'm sorry?
My son is here.
Your son is here.
Yes, Stephen.
Welcome. A member of a most international family. Welcome. Welcome. Pardon? Pardon? You were the start of it, exactly. Well, no, you weren't. But close, close. That was rude of me, sorry. I want to welcome back to our stage Mr. Carl Eschels. And Carl is the husband of Lois, who lives in a greenhouse home. But Carl, as you met this morning, is a resident of Cook Valley, which is part of the Porter Hills homes, and so lives in independent living there, and actually was a person I was so pleased was willing to stay for this panel because of his virtually daily life as a part of that home and being in that home. And I think has so much wisdom to share about the rhythms and families and their roles in greenhouse homes. Carl, thank you so much. Woo! Did you want to say something?
I'm here because Anna coerced me into coming.
Just to say, on Tuesday, I went around Porter Hills just picking people up and saying, will you come? No, I think I was embracing elderhood, Laura Beck, okay? It's embracing elderhood. So I have way too many questions, but I want to ask some of them. I guess if it's okay, I'd like to start with Betty. Betty, you told me, and I think what I'm going to do is when you start talking, go down there and sit so that people can see you. But you told me that you have had a great life in working as a and you said, I'm not a sewing teacher. I'm a sewing
Instructor.
Go ahead, talk about
Sewing
it.
instructor.
Can you go ahead and hold on and just talk right into it?
I am a sewing instructor. We sew everything from the skin out. When you're a sewing teacher, you sew aprons, pajamas, with everybody. We sewed everything.
And you told me how Liz, can I grab that a minute? Thank you so much. And you told me that was really satisfying to you, to be an instructor.
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it.
I miss it today.
Do you really? Do you get any opportunity to still sew?
No, I can't because of my
Because of your arm. Understand. You know, you told me that one time a bride-to-be brought you a photo of her grandmother's wedding dress.
That's right.
And just said, here, sew this.
And we had to try and make it out of unbleached muslin. First, the shade was wrong, so we dyed it in tea in the washing machine. We got the right shade, and then we made it. And we were all these little tucks around the neck, and I was doing the eighth of an inch and an eighth of an inch, adding it here, adding it there, till I talked to my aunt who was trained in Europe. And she says, oh, you did it all wrong. You sew all those tucks in first, then you cut it.
Now she tells you. Don't you like those people who give advice after? Yeah. And then you told me that not only did you use the unbleached muslin for the wedding dress, but then the bride had another great idea.
To make the tuxedo for the husband out of unbleached muslin.
Just crazy. And you said they turned out beautifully.
It was a beautiful.
Yeah. You also told me that you love to read. I asked Betty, what makes a good day for you? What makes a good day? And you said?
Reading.
Reading. And what do you like to read?
Mystery and intrigue. Intrigue.
Yeah. And any special favorite books? I saw piles and piles of books in your room.
Mm-hmm. About 5 a week.
5 a week. Yeah. And that really gives you pleasure.
That certainly does.
Because being in that room and your room.
You don't have anyone to talk to. You talk to your book.
You talk to your book. I love it. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you some more questions later, but first I'm really kind of hoping to ask Liz a couple of questions, if that's okay. Liz, you talked about. Here you go. Let me give you that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you got to have a microphone, you know? It's like power. So, and I don't know about you guys, but I like power. When I think about the things you were telling me about teaching in Detroit, teaching children in Albion, and teaching 11th and 12th grade, which is not the easiest group of kids. What did you like about teaching those grades of children? Were there any things about it that you really enjoyed?
Well, they were very interesting.
Talk right in here.
Adolescents, you never know what they're going to say or do.
Or do. Say
Yeah,
or
it's kinda
do.
surprising.
Yeah. And can you, any stories about something they did that was kind of unexpected?
Did they do something unsuspecting?
Well, sometimes they do that too, don't they?
Oh, yes, I'm sure of that.
Are you sure?
I can't remember of any incident.
Any incident?
particularly.
Well, you told me that there was a particular book. 'Cause I asked her, are there any things you really enjoyed teaching? Any particular books? And you told me one work of literature. First you said, well, English literature. But one particular thing you enjoyed teaching. Would you share that?
One particular book? Or
One in particular book or
Must
work?
have been Macbeth.
Macbeth? So would you be willing to?
Shakespeare.
So Shakespeare, Macbeth, that you really enjoyed teaching. And so was it about it that made it fun to teach? And talk right into the mic.
About the story?
About the story, about teaching it?
Oh, there was something going on all the time, like things, I hate to say this, but murder and things that suspense,
Suspense, witches, with some witches in Macbeth, I think. Maybe I have the story wrong. Were there witches in Macbeth? It doesn't matter.
No, are there? I've forgotten about the witches.
Don't
Maybe
worry
there were,
about
I
it.
don't know.
I asked you, why do you think the children, you said that the people you taught really enjoyed Macbeth.
Oh, there was a lot of suspense, and there was murder, and who knows who did it, who
Sure. It was a whodunit.
done it.
Excellent. Liz, thank you so much.
That's all right.
Thank you. I wanted to, and I'm sure I'm going to get back to you, but I wanted to ask Oda a question, if that's okay. And I'm going to come down here if that's all right. And Oda, when we were talking the other day, this is Oda Champagne. Hi, Francisco, sorry. You were telling me that when you were a teacher, you were able to go all over to teach, and that being a teacher gave you that opportunity. And some of the places that you went to, any places that you'd like to talk about?
Every place I went, I enjoyed very much. I probably taught in 10 different states
Wow.
in my career.
Wow.
But most of them were done in Michigan.
In Michigan? I remember you told me a little bit about New York and a little bit about Oregon.
Yeah.
That's a lot of traveling.
Idaho, all of those, all of New England.
Wow. And what were most of the things you taught? More grammar school?
Well, both. Grammar and also secondary.
Wonderful. And you told me about another adventure, that when you were fairly young, I think, that you had an opportunity to go to Tokyo.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
You had to sign up. I read it in some college room, and it said that they were going to go to Tokyo, and those people who wanted to go, meet here at a certain place and find out about the trip. So I thought, well, sounds fun.
That'd be something.
So that's what I did. I went, and soon I was on my way, and I loved it there.
Yeah.
I had three little maids,
Three little maids.
and I went to a Protestant church,
Yes.
so I didn't have to worry about how I could go to church or where.
And what did you do when you were there? What were you doing over
I
there?
taught I didn't teach. I worked in an office.
And who are you working for? I know I'm setting you up here, but did you work for someone sort of famous?
I don't think they were famous. And
Maybe
I
a
don't
general-
know just what they did prior to my meeting them.
Yesterday you were telling me about a general. You were with the War Department, I think.
General MacArthur?
General MacArthur?
Yeah. Why was that funny?
So just to say, you told me a little bit, not a lot about General
Yeah.
MacArthur. In fact, you didn't really choose to talk about him that much. You seem to have some thoughts about him, though.
Well, he was, I don't know,
You're,
a highfalutin guy, and
was he highfalutin?
yeah,
Yeah? Yeah?
and he was awfully proud of himself.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you're saying that he had maybe he had a little bit of attitude? Did he thought very highly
oh,
of
yes, he was
himself?
a very proud
Very proud?
fellow.
So was he a really easy man to work for?
Pardon?
Was he an easy man to work for?
Yes, he was. I'll
Oh,
have to
was
say
he?
that for him.
Was he? That's
Yes.
good. Yeah. And so you worked, I think you told me you worked in the offices.
I worked in offices in Tokyo.
Yeah, and that was after World War II, I think.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, I was thinking they wouldn't send you over there in the middle of the war,
There
probably.
weren't too many Americans there when I got there. But finally, by the time I left, there were more women there working, in offices.
Wow,
But I was one of the first women to go in from the States
wow.
when I went over.
How interesting.
But I had 3 little maids,
3 little maids.
Japanese maids, yes.
Wow.
They did everything for me. They'd look over my clothes in the closet. Everything was new to them.
Yes.
They hadn't seen these things before.
Yeah, and that's pretty different than Pella, Iowa.
Oh, yes.
I'm thinking in Pella, Iowa, you didn't have 3 little maids.
No, you didn't.
No, no, not so much. Well, Oda, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Oh. So I want to ask Carl. Here, you got it.
Oda has another description of General MacArthur, but she's too polite to say it in this group.
So, Carl, are you too much of a gentleman to say it? It's okay. We'll leave it at that. It's fine. Oh. So I guess I'd like to start by asking Carl, so this is what I do when I do this. I write all these questions and send them to people, and they sort of throw them away. But I wanted to ask, I think it's such a question for me to think about. When you think about your life and your wife and coming every day into the greenhouse home and being with her, what is really important for you to make it a good day for you and Lois? What makes a good day and as you are in that home? And if there's anything I ask you don't want to talk about, you just say, forget that. But are you willing to answer that? What can he say?
Let me first say what my wife likes about the greenhouse.
Absolutely.
3 things she likes. The first is she likes the Shabazz, the loving, caring that Shabazz give. The second thing, I just heard her a few weeks ago, somebody from outside asked, how do you like it here? She said, I like it here. The third thing she likes is the desserts at dinner.
Excellent.
What do I like?
Yeah, what's important to you for your wife and living in that home? What's meaningful and important for you?
I would put the Shabazz as number 1, truthfully. The caring attitude and the interest they have in each of the elders, I think, is unusual, very meaningful, and I think it's also important for the families to witness this as they come in and to see the interaction that goes on between the two.
Yeah. Good answer.
The whole atmosphere of a greenhouse also has a lot to do with how families interact and how they feel about going there. After my wife was in the regular nursing home for 7 years before she went in the greenhouse, it's a totally different approach to family. Bill, this is not only the elders that get different care, but there's a different approach when you're visiting a member in a large nursing home setting. It's much more family-oriented. The other thing I like about it is in the greenhouse, we know each other's families. There are just 10 families, and so we get to share with them, and we get acquainted with them, and I think it's a plus for everyone all the way around.
So relationship, really
Right.
relationship. I guess I want to ask Marty. So for you, Marty, in the home with your mother, with Liz, what is important to you? We'll just rotate these. That works.
Well, my mother was also in another place before coming to the greenhouse, and the comfortable feeling of being in a home, a real family feeling within the home and with the Shabazz and the other people, just makes me feel good when I walk in, and it's such a comforting situation because the transition in moving from her home into a home was a very difficult one. So this is kind of going back into another home. And she has said to me too, I like it here. I like it here better. So that feels good.
Thank you. I'm going to grab it from you, Carl, and then I'll give it back. I guess I'd like to ask all of you on the panel, what makes a good day? What makes a good day for you? Is anybody willing to answer that? What makes it a good day? Anybody? How about you, Francisco? What makes it, you're up here, come on, you can answer a question. What makes it a good day for you?
What makes it a good day, I guess, is when everybody's kind of got that, when the sun is shining and everybody's just willing to kind of get up and move around, and the interactions that we have between each other, between the Shabazz and between the families when they're there, or between the elders themselves. Everything is so, we're so close about everything. The families bring in cake on birthdays and ice cream, and we still get together and take pictures and light candles and sing happy birthday, and everything is still a big deal with each other. So, I mean, just the little jokes we tell each other, things like that, it makes a good day for me.
It's a good day. I want to ask Oda a question. I'm going to come down here. Oda, when we were talking the other day, you said memories are further and further away from you. I wish they wouldn't go. And when you said that, because we were talking about Tokyo and Portland and New York, and you said memories get further and further away from me. I wish they wouldn't. Any thoughts about that?
Well, that's true of anything. The longer you are away from anything, you forget it more and more.
It's true.
And those places were so far away that they were going to be more so.
Well, many years ago. Yeah. Thank you. I just think that's really some words of wisdom. You also, I asked you, what do you like about living in your home? And you sort of shared, so I don't know if you have anything. What do you like about living in your home? What do you like about living in your home?
Well, I know it's mine, and I can do with it what I like. And I can...
Yeah?
I can have company. I can cook what I want to cook. I can chase people away if I want to.
Absolutely. Any place you really like to go in your home? Any
I
particular?
wouldn't think so. I loved my home.
You love your home. You know, when we were together, you brought me to your bedroom. Beautiful, beautiful bedroom. But then, in a minute, you were outside in the garden. It seems like the garden is a special place. The garden is a special place for you.
Oh, yes. I always had a garden, and my mother and father always had a lovely garden. And I think I got it from them.
Yeah. And you really take care of that garden
Oh,
at
yeah.
your home. Thank you so much. There we go. You know, another question, I always want to ask this question. If there's one thing you could change about where you live right now, what's one thing you might change? Anybody? Anything you could think of? Betty? Anything you would change if you wanted to?
Yes, I would increase the size of the room a little. Because you get your bed one way, that's the way it's going to stay. You get your bed the other way, and that's it. You can't be changing your... I like my room changed around quite often.
So to have more space so you can move it around better.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
A couple of feet each way.
A couple of feet each way. I do have to say you have a beautiful, beautiful bedroom with the window on one side and the other side and the sitting room and looking right at the garden, but still a little bigger. Got it. It is very nice. Oh, go ahead.
We see the swans and the ducks in the summer.
I heard there are a lot of birds.
There are all over. You hear them in the morning.
Yeah. In fact, just to say, Cheryl Van Benden said sometimes you feel a little bit like you're in the Birds movie. There's for anyone who hasn't been over to Porter Hills, it's all wetlands all around their homes, and the birds come. It's nice. I guess I'd like to ask Carl, would you be willing to share, you really have become, and I don't think it's an official title, but a mentor to other family members. And I have to say this, you talked a little bit about that. Also, when I met Carl the other day, and I brought it, but I'm not going to see where I put it here, he handed me a piece of paper, and he said, if you're going to have that meeting, I think all those people who work in homes really need to have some education and training around really learning to work with persons living with dementia. And he handed me a handout and said, but you can give this to them if you want. And we are going to share lots of that tomorrow. But can you talk a little bit about your role in that home as a mentor to other families?
Well, I might give you a couple of suggestions and things you do. One of the things you learn in dealing with people, and you could use this too. When families come in, or when you come into a room, tell them who you are and why you are there. It's amazing how many people, I hear families come in and say, guess who's here? Well, when you go in the morning, you're the first one in the morning, and you start right in to get them up out of bed. For goodness sakes, tell them who you are, why you're there. Spend a moment a little bit to give them a little bit at ease with the situation. Not only tell them who you are, but tell them why you're there. Otherwise, they're wondering, Kelly, Darlene I know her, but is she my daughter? Is she from my church? Is she from the neighborhood? By the time they figure out who you are, you've already progressed to other things, and so they're still back here, and you're over here. Little things like that make a difference in dealing with people. I think you all know this. Whatever you say, don't you remember? If it isn't there, you can't recall it. And so it is much better to just let it go. I have said yes to so many things. And don't argue, change the subject, keep it agreeable. You're not going to change the person. And so you make the change instead, and it works out much better for all.
Anything else you'd like? No, so we have some speaking gigs for you. We can get you on because I'm thinking there's a whole future for you in this field. I asked Betty one thing she'd like to change, and then I forgot, frankly, that I asked that question. She said that she would like a bigger room. I guess I'd like to ask Liz. Liz, is there one thing that you would give as advice to all these people who, come on, I have a feeling you have many, many words of advice. Anything you'd like to give as advice? They all work in homes very similar to the home that you live in.
I don't really know.
You don't know? It's okay.
No, I don't know how to give advice.
No? What would you?
I guess probably never to give up.
Never to give
Never
up.
to give up, no matter how difficult things are, why, keep on going. And chances are, things will get better.
There you go. Words to live by. Thank you, Liz. Oda, is there any word of advice you would want to give these individuals that you've learned?
I mean, these people,
Yeah, those people, whoever you want. There you go.
just be happy with what you have. Lots of times you want more, but you can't have it, but you've got to be satisfied anyway. And that's what I've always told myself. Be happy with what I have, what my parents have given me, and I have a lovely family, and I couldn't ask for anything better or nicer.
Thank you so much, Oda. Marty, is there anything you'd like to say, just to share? Here you go. I know you weren't prepared, but
I'd just like to thank all of you who are in this field, in the greenhouse, and who have created and become a part of this new concept, because as family members, I know my entire family just feels so good about the home where my mother is now, and so I just thank you for seeing the vision and being a part of it.
thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, I wasn't that gun-ho on moving again.
No.
So, but with my son, he decided, hey, you've got to get there. And he worked at it. And another thing, when you're in a nursing home, you wait and you wait, you call and they'll say, you're not my resident. They don't want to help you. But here you call, they come immediately. They're very good about that.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
A lot of comfort.
It's comfort.
Yes,
It's comfort.
yes.
Yeah. Thank you so
It's not like I'm laying here all by my lonely self.
People call me.
Somebody is there.
Thank you so much. Any other words of advice you'd like to give this group?
I think we have the most wonderful people in the world working for us. Every one of them. Ask my son, he'll tell you.
I just want to say my mother's been in the greenhouse practically from the inception, I think from the first month after that. And she was in the nursing home. She's been paralyzed for 11 years, so she was in a nursing home for, 5 or 6 of those years before she transferred to the greenhouse. And what I have noticed over the years is that we've all become friends. I know all the Shababs very well. They know who I am, and they're not hesitant to call me. I mean, I share fish with them. I share stories with them. I give them what they want. But what I wanted to really tell you that we found that works very well is my mother loves to eat, and I don't know of any elderly person that doesn't love to eat. And so once or twice or 3 times a year, my wife and I will come in and we'll make a meal. We made Thanksgiving this year for everybody. And in fact, she said to me, so when are we having our next meal? She just told me that last night. And I said, well, I've been fishing out in the big lake, so maybe we'll bring salmon in this fall. She said, oh, that's good. You did that last year. I said, yeah. So I would encourage you to encourage parents and family of people that are in the greenhouses to get involved. You don't have to do it every month. You don't have to do it every other month. You can just do it once in a while. Because I think everybody in a nursing or at home loves some special food. And we always try to give that to her at once or twice or 3 times a year. And it's a family. I've appreciated these people immensely. And I can go away for 7 weeks out of the country, and I know that they'll take care of her, and I know that they'll call me if they need to, and that's what I've always appreciated. So, thanks.
So, I just sort of want to take this to a close and invite all of you to stay for our reception. And I guess I want to make sure I give you all a chance. Is there any parting words? Anyone says, I've got to tell them this. Anybody want this microphone? Go for it, Carl.
You know I would speak up. That's been a great day, hasn't it? I've learned some things. I hope you have too. And my wish for you is that from what you learn here, the inspiration you get, that you use it to change your life for the better.
And that's the end. Thank you all. And the reception is right next door. But get scanned out if you need